Welcome to this video on the Filr web client, where we'll have a look at the functionality that's available to the end user. When you go to your Filr web address, which most probably is something along the lines of filr.mycompany.com, you'll be prompted to log in. Your login screen will look different to this. This has been branded, and your screen may well have been branded for your particular organization, or you may be using the default branding. Here you just need to put in your normal login credentials, or you may have been given separate credentials. So here I'll just put in Redgrave and type in my password and then click on login. Before I click on login here in this instance, let me just go through a couple of things. If I get my password wrong by default 5 times, then I'll get starting to be prompted for additional information to prove I'm not a robot or that sort of thing. The other thing is that your organization may have implemented multi-factor authentication, so there'll be another bit of authentication information you'll need after I click on login, something like a unique number that I get on as an SMS message on my phone or something like that. In this instance I haven't got any of that set up, so we'll just click on login. When I come in here, I get to my home page. Across the top here I've got recent files that people have been editing. Just be aware they may not necessarily be my files that come up there. I then, if my administrator has enabled it, have options to see client download. So from here I can download the Windows desktop client, plugins for Office, Outlook, the Mac client, Linux client. Mobile clients typically I get from the App Store on the appropriate device. What I may also have here, depending on the storage that I've got enabled, I may get a gauge here showing me how much of that storage is being used, how much is deleted files, and how much is free. But again, I haven't got that implemented at the moment here. Down the left hand side I've got various options. So here I've got my files, which typically will equate to the drive you've got on the network with your files on. So if I let's just bring that up. Usually this is maybe mapped to your H drive, but it's your home area. You can see the files that I've got here on the network drive are exactly the same as the files I've got here, because we're looking at the same files. They're not copies of the files or anything, they're the same files there. Similarly, on net folders, these files are the same as I may have drive letters for. So you can see the finance, the marketing and sales there, all mapped to different letters. They'll equate to those and they're the same. I've also got an icon here for shared with me. So these are files that other people have shared with me to view or to edit, and may not necessarily be in areas that I normally have access to, but because they've given me rights to them, I can see them here. I can, by the way, if you can't remember which icon is which, just pull that side panel out just to view those there should you wish to. I may have other icons here such as public and so on, but let's just go back to my files for a moment. So here I can see a directory listing. I can just scroll through that. I don't have to click next, next, next or that sort of thing. If I want to go back up to the top, I do have a little icon down on the bottom there that will get me up to the top should I need to. I do have options for shared by me. So these are files from this directory that I've shared. If I go into something like net folders and do shared by me here, I'll have a different listing of what's there. So these are set up per net folder, what I've shared from there. So as far as this interface is concerned, I can right click on an item and I've got various menu options coming down. I also have these 3 dots at the end which will give me a drop down menu, and then I've got some options here to see some more details if I wanted to there, and we'll come on to that in a moment because I've got options there. I can download files or indeed whole folders here as well, and indeed I can share from this point as well. Something else you may have noticed is that I've got this little star behind folders and files. If I just click on that, that gives me the option to follow that item, and so I can follow items here, which will then send me an email letting me know when something's changed on that item. So if a colleague of mine edits that file and saves it, I'll get an email telling me of that change. I can have those emails coming in individually, so every time there is a change, but obviously if I'm following lots of items or there are lots of changes, I don't really want to have loads of emails coming in. It will be a bit overwhelming. So I can configure that to send me just a digest once a day or whatever time period your organization has configured. So to change that, up in the top right by my name, I've got a drop down, and here I can take the option to view profile. By the way, I've got the administration console here because I'm an administrator of this system. It may well be that you don't have that menu option, and indeed you may not have the ideas portal option either. But let's just go into view profile. So here I can do things like upload a photo if I wanted, and some of these settings, depending on what how your organization has it set up, can be edited. But down here is the settings I was talking about for the email. So at the moment I've got that set for email digest. I can set that to email only should I wish to, so it'll just send me every time there's a change, I'll get an email, and so you should start seeing that coming in as we do edits later on. I can also just turn the whole thing off if I wanted to by checking that button. I'll leave it enabled for the moment for email. Notice I don't have to click on save or anything. The changes I do will happen automatically then and there. So for instance, if I change this to be Danish, my language will change to Danish straight away. Let me just put that back to English United Kingdom, as I don't speak Danish. There we go. And let's just go back to my files. So I do have options to add comments around files. So here, if I click on more details, I've got the option for comments here. I can say, put something in, please add more detail, and send that. So that is just attached to that file. If I want to go and see comments, once they're there, I've got this little box there I can just click on. People can reply to comments, and I can delete or edit existing comments there. So I can have a whole conversation with colleagues around documents that we're working on there, should I wish to. Just so you're aware, that may have been disabled by your administrator, so you may not have the option available to you for that. Something else that's quite useful is the ability to preview a document. So if I just come in here, I don't have to download a file in order to read it. I can get a HTML view of the file. This won't work with all file types, but there's several hundred different file formats that we support for viewing, so it's more than likely that the file that you want to view, you'll be able to do so there. So to get SysEd files into the system through the interface, I can upload files. So there are a couple of ways that I can do this. I've got this option here which will upload a file into the current interface. So here, if I take that file of design document, say open, you can see that has now been uploaded into this folder. The other way that I can do it is to just drag and drop files onto this page. So if and I can take multiple files here, I can just pick those up, drag them across, and you'll see my upload progress down the bottom left there. And now those files will have been added in here. You can see there they are. So we can do the standard sort of file manipulation here, so I can rename files if I wanted to. I can delete files, I can move them elsewhere, and so on. If I want to download a file, I can. I've got the option to download it as a zip file as well there, and obviously with something like a folder, that's how the folder will come down with all the contents. I can create folders here if I wanted to. You can see I've got the option up here to create a folder. I just need to give it a name, so let's just call this Project Y, and do create, and I then have that folder quite happily in here. Let's just take that file I uploaded a moment ago, addressed to Haggis. I can edit this file, so if I right click on this item, I've got the option to edit it online. I may have, let's just show you on another file, let's take this one here. I may have a couple of options available depending on what your organization has set up. So I may have edit online or with application. Let's just take the option with application on this spreadsheet for a moment. So what that will do is launch the local application that's running on my machine and let me edit that file. So here, if I just change that to 80 for instance and save that, that will get saved straight back into Filr, so I don't need to worry about uploading that file back again. That will have been uploaded for me back into the system. And indeed, what was it, that one, if I just go and look at that, you can see there's that change that I made already there, so that I don't need to worry about saving it somewhere locally and uploading into the system. That's all taken care of. But the other option I've got is the edit online option. Let's just take that here. What that will do is launch the content editor, which you may or may not have implemented in your environment. And here I can edit this file. So this is an online editing capability. It's got a few DLP, that's data loss prevention capabilities. So you can see, for instance, they've got a watermark across there that it's been put in of my email address, and that can be disabled. It's not mandatory to have that, and your organization may disable that. If I copy data here, it's only able to be copied internally on this document, so I can't take it elsewhere. And similarly, things like print and save I've disabled here as well. But that's purely in this instance. It may be that in your organization the administrator will let you print this document or save it. So you've got those options. So let's just make a change there and save that. And then we can close that down. So something else that we can do is share this file with other people, and depending on whether I may not have rights to share it, I may only have rights to share information internally or externally, and indeed those rights may change depending on what folder I'm in. So some instances, for instance in the finance folder, I won't have options to share because it's sensitive information, but something like my own home directory I will be allowed to share information from. Let's just go and share information. So I've got options to share on the drop down menu here, but I prefer to just click on the member column and that will bring out the share details, and I can just click on share here. So to share with an internal user, all I need to do is just type in their name. So if I start typing, I can then select the user, and having got that user I can say, are they allowed to view it? Can they edit it? Let's say they can edit it. And for internal users, are they allowed to share it with other people? And I can also specify, does that expire? I might say that that's going to expire at the end of next week, or maybe never expire. So we've got the option there. Let's just add in an external user. And all I need to do there is just type in their email address. And for them, I've got the same options. I can specify whether they can edit it and when it expires and so on. As I'm putting this in at the same time as the other one, it's taking those settings there. I can add a message in there, so please edit, and then I can just send the invitation off. So for the internal user, they'll get an email. That's the email just arriving for the external user there. But for the internal user, they'll receive an email. They can click on the link in the email. If they're not authenticated to Filr, they then authenticate using their normal Filr credentials, and then they'll get access to that file. But for the external user, they have to self-register. So I'll just go through that process so you understand it in case you need to explain it to someone you're sharing information with. Let's just show you that working. Oh, you can see there I've got that notification come in telling me about the changes that I did to that other document earlier. But this is self-registration sent to me as an external user. So here, the email, by the way, your administrator may have changed the look and feel of that and put your corporate logo on and put extra text on or whatever. But the external user that you've shared something with, all they need to do is just click on the link and then type in their first name. So let's just say I'm Rob. Their last name. Put in a password they want to use and just confirm the password. And if there are terms and conditions that they have to accept, then they can just check the option there and then click on sign up. What will then happen is if they click continue, they'll then get prompted to authenticate. Their user ID is going to be their email address, and they just put in the password that they just entered there. I'm just going to click login, and there we go, I've got access to that document. And in this case we gave edit rights, and I can see the type of access I've got here. So I can just right click on that and say edit online, and here as I can edit that file quite happily. Notice here that I've just got an email telling me that that user has accessed that file. So the first person who accesses a file that I've shared, I'm going to get an email about, just to let me know that the share's been activated. So let me just save that file, and let's just close that down and go back. So in addition to that email that I get when something's been accessed, I do have a share report that I can access. So if I just click on the option here, I've got here information, how many people have seen that out of the people that have accessed it, and you can see the one with the green dot is the one that actually accessed it. If I want to know when and where, when they accessed it, I do have this access report I can view, which tells me where they came in from and the date time of that. And I can download that report as a PDF file should I wish to. Just so you're aware, when I share a folder, because I can share a whole folder should I wish to, and there's that notification of changes to that document the external user did. Here I can share, and I've got a different share right as well that I can access here, as well as editor and viewer. I can give contributor rights, which means that the user, whether they be internal or external, can manipulate files in that folder. They can add files to the folder, they can delete files and so on, should I wish to have them have that level of access. Another way of sharing of a file that I can do is to do it without authentication. So a little bit less security. I don't know who's accessing that file, and that's not logged because they don't have to authenticate. All they need to do is just click on a link and get access. So here, if I right click on here, I've got the option to share link. I can pick up that link, and I've got options. Is the user going to be able to just view the file and do that HTML preview that we looked at earlier, or can they download the file? here, and when is that link going to expire. So if I just do a generate on that, I've got this link that I can then put in an email, and all the user has to do is just click on that link and they'll get access to that file, whether to view it or to download it. So far easier for the end user, but you're losing a little bit of security on that. And again, you may not have been given rights to share in that way. Something else that I can do, let's just go back to this address for a haggis, and is manipulate those shares that I've already got. So if I just click on the share button there, I've got the option here to manage shares. So should I suddenly decide, I can just select the item, or indeed I can edit multiple items at once should I wish to, and then select the option to edit share. So here I can change that from to just be a viewer. I can say that's going to never expire, or indeed remove that user from the share list totally if I wanted to. So you can change a share once you've put it in place. What I can also do, if they've lost their link to that share, I can take the option to send a reminder to them. So I can just click on that, and that will send them a reminder of how to access that share. So if they've accidentally deleted the link or something like that, you can send that there, and you can see the reminder just coming in there. There may be times that I want to stop all sharing of a document, so if I just right click on the document here, you can see I've got an option to stop sharing should I wish to, and that will just stop all sharing on that particular document. So you can see that's now got no one it's shared with that address to a haggis. So some other features that are quite useful that I use quite often are the request a file option. So this I use when somebody outside the organization wishes to give me a file, and normally it's because it's too big to go in an email and it's bouncing saying that it's too big a file. What I can do is just send them a link that they can click on, upload a document, and that will appear in my directory structure here. So to do that, if I just click on request file, I just need to put in the email address of who I'm requesting. So let's just use that external user I was using before. I need to specify where I want that to come in. I can't put that, by the way, at the root of my files. I need to go down. So let's take that Project Y folder I created earlier and just click choose. And I can put a note in here, please upload here, and then send the request. So that will send the request. You'll see that come in a moment into my mailbox. There we go. Let's just read it. And I'll just show you how this works from their end. Again, the look and feel of this email may be different depending on what your organization has done. But if I just click on the upload the requested file, it'll take me through to a page where I can just click and select a file if I wanted to, or I can drag and drop a file on here. So let's just take that file. I'll open that there and say upload, and of course once that's been uploaded, as the person who initiated that share, I'll get told that the file is uploaded, so I don't need to keep phoning up the person saying have you uploaded it, or keep checking to see if the item has been uploaded. And you can see that's the email coming in just telling me that it's been uploaded there. And let's just go and have a look. So here, if I go into Project Y, you can see here I've got that file has been uploaded. The name has been changed and just put in with the email address of the person who did the upload. So I know who it was that put that. So if I send out multiple requests all going into the same folder, I know which request came from which user there. So some other things that I can do here, if I just click on this icon, that gives me a list of recent files that have been accessed. So very quickly I can, if I'm working on something, I can just go to that and bring it up again and access it. I also have a search option here, so I can specify what folder I want to search in, and I can search across everything, for instance, if I wanted to. And I can just type in file name, and that will bring up any documents that match what I'm typing in there. In this instance, I've got full content indexing enabled, so even if that word exists inside the document, I'm going to be able to find that file. I can just hit return, and that will give me a bigger list and a bit more information on what it's found that contain the word I'm looking for there. Again, your organization may not be doing full content indexing, in which case when I do a search it'll just be on the file name. And of course, finally, if I want to log out, all I need to do is just click on the top right and say sign out. I hope you've learned a little bit about the web interface here. Thank you for listening.